All right, guys, happy Monday. I'm excited to see your faces for the week and kick this off. And I think this is going to be an exciting Zoom. So it all starts with belief. And Joel and I have been in the company for, I don't know, seems like forever, almost like 14 years going on, something like that. So we've kind of come in and not always had belief. And I think that's something that you can borrow from people, absolutely. And one of the things that's quickly what I learned was the power of belief and knowing, okay, anything's possible. So I want you guys to write this down, and I may just put this in the chat, but why belief is so powerful. The power of belief resides in its ability to do four things. Belief creates vision. Belief creates strength of will. Belief creates resilience, and belief ignites and activates. And I am not an expert on belief, but I know that I have faith, and I believe that we were all brought here for a reason. And so I'm excited to kind of dive into this a little bit more with Carla, but Joel has something.
And guys, here's the thing about belief. This is why it's so important, why we're dedicating an entire training to this, because either you believe you can or you believe you can't. Either which way, you're right. See, belief starts in your mind, and that's why we talk about, personal development being so important and mindset being so important, because if you believe it, you can achieve it. And so we need to build up that belief mechanism in your mind to get you strong enough so that when opposition will come, you have the belief that you can overcome it.
Mm-hmm. And I know that going back, Carla was one that believed in us right from the get-go. And so, she's have really grown in this and has dived into all kinds of things. And I know she'll share a ton more on that. But what belief means is we need to speak that over our newbies a lot, because that's really, or even yourself, maybe you've been in here and you've never had somebody see and believe in you so much, but can we change that? And that's something that hearing what you want to hear and making sure you're kind of aware of that. So Carla, can you unmute yourself? Because I'm so excited. I want them to know how long you've been into.
Well, what's amazing, guys, is you may not know this, but the only reason why you are here is because of Carla. So I'll let that be the lead in to
yes,
Carla.
Yes.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. I'm super excited about this. So when you guys asked me to talk about belief, I'm like, yes, absolutely. And this calls for some eggnog. So I poured myself some eggnog, and I am like, I hope they know what they're getting themselves into.
Yes, we do.
Lit. Okay. All right. So yeah, belief. Gosh, my belief about belief has actually evolved over the years, because when I first met you guys, and yes, I absolutely believed in you so much, and I see potential in people, and it was just dripping off of you guys. So and I was right. Look at you guys. So I'm so proud. I'm just like that proud mama that kind of watches her children grow up and just become the rock stars and success. And I'm just so proud, so proud of what you guys have accomplished. But yeah, so belief. My belief has changed over the years. When I first thought about belief, I thought belief meant believing in something like outside of myself. Like, I believe in this, or I believe in that, or I think I can do this or that. And so my whole concept of belief has completely evolved. And it's evolved with my study of quantum physics and just diving deeper, even into spirituality, Christianity, into the scriptures, and like the true meanings of what Jesus was trying to tell us. And so what I've discovered is that belief is actually, if you look at the word belief and you read it like be life. So it's be life. So you are being every day. So how are you being and how are you lifing? How do you show up for your life? So it's be life and live each day. So it's living what you're speaking and, walking out what you say. So it's showing up and doing the things that you say you're going to do. That is all part of what belief or be life is. So for me, when someone asks me, well, how am I going to believe more in myself, or how can I increase my belief? I go straight to the source, which is you. So you, what are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you saying? How are you acting? This is how you are going to be showing up in the world, and how you show up is exactly what you're going to get in return. You guys have any thoughts on that?
That's so good, because one of the things that I've talked about all the time is how do you build belief in yourself? And it boils down to keeping commitments to yourself. The reason why you don't have any belief in yourself currently or possibly is because you've never done what you said you're going to do. And so the easiest way to build belief in yourself is to do the things that you say you're going to do, and start out with easy things. And for Steph, one of the easiest things to build belief for herself was accomplishing the task of making her bed every morning. Mm-hmm. When she started doing that, she started believing, hey, I am doing what I said I was going to do. And then that led to, I'm going to make 3 or 4 phone calls. So what did she do? She started making the 3 or 4 phone calls. So she started building belief in herself because she was following through with the things that she told herself she was going to do.
I think belief can be a little bit different too, because I feel like I've walked this for so many years, and then somebody said the C word to me, cancer. And I was like, I am not believing that I'm going to die. I am not believing that that was a bad thing. And I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, this is it. For a minute, I cried and thought, what am I going to do? And then I had to train my brain every day. And that was probably the best thing I went through, because I still train my brain every day. What do I want? Where do I see? Am I speaking abundance into my life? Am I open to that? Am I healed? Am I healthy? I envision what I look like at 100 years old, and poor Joel's chasing me around, still at 100.
Still going.
But I think that if I could take that, and go back to when I first joined and even had more childlike belief, like believing anything is possible. Of course, we're going to be told no, or like a kid, they fall down and they get right back up. And so I think, I don't know if you can say something on that, Carla, to be like, when a new person comes in, it's hard when you get told no, or you're doing the task, right? And you feel like, man, it's not going the way that I want it to go. So what are some techniques or things that you can share on that?
So, you mentioned something too about like just how you have to train your mind. And the reason we have to do that is because everyone's belief level is going to be different, no matter if they're brand new or if they've been in for 15 years, because that belief, it's a programming. Think of your brain like a computer system, and you have been programmed since you were born, like from age 0 to 7. You're programmed with the way you were raised, what you saw, what you read, the places that you've been. So you are going to have a different set of beliefs than someone else. So every single person that comes in that's new, they might think, oh, this is easy. And then the same person has the exact same circumstance, but they think, this is so hard. Why doesn't anybody like this? Why doesn't anybody like me? It's all has to do with that programming, which is why I love that this business is not just something that we're selling, it's a self-development, because the self-development is you have to learn how to reprogram all of the old programs to become the new program that what's the reason why you signed up for this business is because you didn't like the way things were. So you want to change them, and your body and your mind want to do that, but your subconscious is what you're fighting with. So it's all of those subconscious beliefs that hold us back. And so to answer the question is, well, how then do we overcome that? How do we get down into that subconscious? So, we don't want to spend too much time there. And that's where the problem can be, is actually spending too much time trying to figure out what's wrong. Because the more time you spend trying to figure out what's wrong, the less time you're working towards what's right. So we just really want to focus on, like you said, Stephanie, what do I want? Where am I going? Having those goals, like little goals and small wins. So I don't think we celebrate those small wins enough. I think, if you get your first customer, that's awesome. No, if you get your second customer, that is awesome. So we need to keep celebrating, because the way the brain works is every time you have a new experience, it gets rid of an old one. And the old ones are the ones that we want to get rid of, the ones that are programmed, the ones that we don't want. And the fastest way to do that is to celebrate new experiences.
Sorry, I love that, because I had to look for these notes as soon as you started talking about it. I was at a conference with Erwin McManus, and Erwin McManus said, it is less important to know who you are or who you were, and believe more about who you are becoming and who you want to be. Because of the fact that wherever you're at right now, you may not have the level of belief for your current situation, but you need to start creating and thinking and moving forward of who you want to be and who you want to become, and start believing that you are that person, and you'll eventually become that person.
Well, and I think, Carla, you're so right. We don't celebrate the small wins that lead to the big things. That's the foundation that's going to get you to these huge things. It's really quite simple, if we can keep it that way. But I think some of the things that I would do, you guys, if I were wanting to change and believing, I am going diamond, I am whatever your goal is what is your daily task list? Are you completing that? And going, okay, I'm going to challenge myself to get 3 house posts up, or whatever that is, and celebrating that, and really high-fiving yourself in the mirror, doing those things. Joel's like, always telling me, you need to high-five yourself, like what that does. Yes. Even if we're all like to do like this, like high-five each other, like it's changing.
Okay, everybody, high-five your screen right now.
High-five, high-five. Like, if we just started off by that, and what we would start doing with our tasks will eventually lead to the results that we want. And I know that sometimes sounds so silly and crazy, but if you want something, you got to start attracting what you want. And so the good thing is what a great time of year to be changing and getting ready for all that is going to come your way. So I know, for newbies, sometimes we forget to just celebrate them, because maybe some of you have had such big wins that you're forgetting just those small ones. So I don't know if there's something that, I know there's other leaders on here. If there's something that you're like, hey, we need to celebrate this, will you guys put that in the chat for us? Because what a great thing to go back into our team page and just celebrate, hey, who made their bed today, or who read, something positive today, or whatever that looks like. I'm just waiting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you kind of, do to help?
Well, yeah. So I'm very, very selective of who I spend time with. Mm-hmm. So this has been key for my success and just growing even as a person, is who I'm spending the most time with. Because there's spiritual laws, there's natural laws, and there's quantum laws. And there is a law that's called entanglement. And you will entangle with the people that you are hanging around with. You will start talking like them. You'll start walking like them. You'll start thinking like them. And sooner or later, the people that are closest to you within like your proximity. So whether you're just sitting beside them, or you're talking to them every day, or you're texting with them every day, you're doing Zooms with them, you're hanging out with them, you are going to become them. Physically and energetically, you're going to become them. So who are you hanging around with? That is so key, because I find, like, we talk about like when the enemy can attack us, that is, the enemy is in the atmosphere. So
Mhm.
when the enemy is in the atmosphere, that is your environment. So check your environment. How do you feel around these people? Do these people make you, are they uplifting you? Are they inspiring you? Are you becoming better than you were last year or even yesterday? That is like the most important thing I can tell you, that you need to get around the right people. So
Mhm.
when I
Because,
say the right
yeah.
people, sorry, there, you have to be elevating. You've
Mhm.
got to elevate and grow together. It can't just be like one person that's taking everyone along with them. It doesn't work that way. It's always going to be, eventually all of them are going to drag that one down. So elevating your circle.
That was something that I said the other day about elevating your circle. And we talk about that a lot about, getting around the right people. But the other thing that you have to think about is, what are you doing? Because guess what? You are in somebody else's circle.
Mhm.
So are you bringing up the belief level? Are you bringing up the confidence level of the people that you are around? So if you are, say, in a circle with us, are we adding value to you because you're in the circle? So not only look at what you're getting from the circle, but what you're able to contribute to that. And another thing for the word belief, another word that I like to use is confidence. And you guys have to guard your confidence when you're around people, because 97% of the world out there wants to steal your confidence and pull you down because of the fact that they don't have confidence. So you have to be an encourager and a belief builder, but at the same time, you have to guard that precious spot inside of yourself, because they're trying to squeeze it out of you.
I think it's just sometimes so easy that we don't share enough of like, hey, what's working, or hey, I read this good book, or this is how I got my mindset switched around, because it's just easy just sometimes to not say anything. And I recognize that, like, man, I need to say, this is how I got this customer, back to this business is like, how can I share and help you guys, thinking back of when I first joined, and being scared to death. Like, I know nothing. And Carla was a nurse, you guys. And I was like, oh my God, I know nothing about the product. And it was just like, I don't know. And if you want to read it, here you go. Like, that will come. But like, celebrating those things and going, oh my gosh, who has done an online party? Who wants to do those things? And not being afraid, I think, to ask the questions. And I don't know, sometimes we just forget and we need a refresher. And I think why this topic just kind of came up is like, man, I need that belief. I need somebody. I mean, we've got people around us to elevate us, but even more so when the enemy does want to come in, I'm like, I need to be aware of that and believe even more. Like, I'm trusting like things are going to go on so that I can help the next person go through exactly what I went through. And I will never forget this, you guys. I called Carla and I was at an Emerald and I told her I was going to quit. I was like, I remember just being like, this isn't worth it. Nobody wants it as bad as me. Like, you guys, I was in like houses, doing parties, going into malls, like knocking on doors. Like, I didn't care. I was just like, whatever I need to do what I need to do to get to Diamond, I was willing to do it. And I felt stuck. Like, I don't want to go through this. Like, why doesn't anybody else want this as bad as me? And I don't know, whatever magic word Carla said, she probably just listened to me, that she's a really good listener. And, and it was like, I don't know, I let it all go. And I was like, well, I'm going to go regardless if they want to or not, and accept and be happy that they were there for a piece of that puzzle in that season, and to bless it and let it go if it's not to be, but it was to move me forward to where I needed to be. And what it did is it grew me as a leader. And I didn't know that at that time, you guys. I did not know that feeling of wanting to quit would come into play, and me being able to actually feel those feelings truly to help somebody else when they felt that way. And At the time, I was just like so mad. And some of you can probably relate. Like you can see your promotion, you can see your next goal, and you can feel that win, and it's so close, and yet it feels so far away, and it's just so easy to give up. And I just think, oh my gosh, if I would have gave up, like I wouldn't have helped that next person, then that next person, then that next person, and all the people's lives that I don't even know that I've had a piece in, right? And so I think when you look at that and go, okay, I'm going to go through things, but believing there's so much more, that God made me for so much more, even though I didn't know, but somebody speaking that to me on the phone, which was Carla, like believing in me, like, no, I see you speaking in front of thousands of people. And I was like, no, I don't see that. I did not. I did
It's
not.
all your fault, Carla.
Yeah, she did. She spoke those words. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I think, going back and just sharing some of that stuff again as a reminder, like it's okay to feel the feels and to feel like, maybe I'm not just there, but can we retrain our brain? And there's going to be probably, I'm sure Carla does it multiple times where she's like, I got to retrain my brain. I was around people that were good for that time, and then they weren't, because Carla was made differently to do something else, and she has a vision for more. And so that's okay for you guys too, to be like, oh, I recognize, and I got to get my belief going back up. What are those things that I need to do that? I'm not like smart like Carla and Joel at all. Like they're so nerdy, and I'm just like,
But you did say something awesome that led into this. Carla, could you talk about it was Caroline Leaf that was talking about the studies of the brain and the tree and how you can actually reprogram your mind, because that's an incredible study, but I think it helps people with belief, because a lot of people have limiting beliefs and they don't think that they can change it, but there's actual scientific evidence showing that you can physically do it in your brain.
Yeah, you absolutely can. So, Dr. Leaf talks about the brain having these branches, and the branches are also something that's called your reticular activating system. It's like your RAS. So think of that like your GPS. So you program in where you want to go, and the GPS directs you, and it tells you exactly where you want to go. So basically, the same thing is happening in your brain, and it's based off of these branches that develop. Remember, I talked about getting programmed when you were like 0 to 7 years old. So during that period, when you are 0 to 7 years old, even in the womb, you are in a hypnotic brainwave state. It's called theta. So you are literally, if you were to be hypnotized today, you can be influenced by hypnotic suggestions. You've been hypnotized from all the way up to the age 7. So you have all of these tree branches that have been growing, because what your brain believes, that's what you achieve, that's what you create. So think about up until the age 7, you created these habits based off of what you were hypnotized with. All of these habits grew, and they grew and they grew and they grew. And as you're an adult now, you have this GPS that's based off of an old program. So you know how sometimes you get in the car and like they didn't update the GPS and it takes you to the wrong place? That's what's happening. So you are programmed going in the wrong direction from an old map. That map that was created up until you were, there's like a fly in here, up until you're like 7. So every reaction that you have, because your reactions create your reality. So every reaction that you have is based off of this old program. So to your point, Joel, yes, that program can be changed. So it's proven you can rewire these branches. Just like if you were to have a clot in your heart, or somewhere else in your body, the blood in your body will recirculate and it will go around it. So you can grow these new branches. So how do we do that? We grow new branches by doing new things. You have to literally force yourself to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, like brushing your teeth with the opposite hand. If you don't make your bed every day, making your bed every day. You have to trick your brain into believing or be lifing, completely changing your life. And the more drastic and dramatic that you can do this, the faster you're going to see the change. So, like, I'm talking about every single morning, you wake up, and on that day, tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, you could wake up and make the decision that you're going to completely change your life. This is what's called a quantum leap. It happens very fast. I'm sure there's someone on here, even Joel and Steph. I've had this happen to me. You make a decision and boom, everything happens. It's like something clicks because now your GPS has got you going on the right direction. And all you did was make a decision to ignore the old program and step into this new one. Step into what exactly is it or where I want to go? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And live it out. Like, not fake it till you make it, but you literally are a brand new person tomorrow morning. So you could try this tomorrow morning with just one thing. So pick something that you do the same thing every single day. And the body and the mind like routine. We don't like change. So your body is going to fight you. Like, you're going to get anxious, you might get upset, you'll get angry because your brain just doesn't know what to do with things that are different because it's wired a certain way. So if it will feel uneasy and you won't like it, but you have to push through that. So what's one thing that you could do entirely different that you've never done before that your brain won't recognize it's actually the old you?
That's awesome. And that's why affirmations are so important, because what you're doing is you are consciously speaking out loud the programming that you want your brain to subconsciously hear. And that's why we talk about, high-fiving yourself in the mirror, is because it's an unnatural action that actually short circuits your subconscious brain, because it doesn't understand why you're giving yourself a high five in the mirror. And then when you're done doing the high five, that's when you say your affirmations, because now all of a sudden you're physically in a state where when you speak, your brain will actually listen to you. And at that point, you can start retraining your reticular activating system to do and see and be aware of the things that you actually want in your life.
I mean, I'm just ready to do another quantum leap. How many times do we do this in our life? And just like,
You can every day.
like, oh my gosh. So I feel like, if there's anything else, I know that sometimes we put these Zooms out because people always want to know sometimes the hows, and that we know what to do, but sometimes we need to fix that belief, or what can we do to power through those things. So I love that we did this. I don't know, it was on my heart. Obviously God knew that we needed this. And I was just like, Carla, this is what can you do this? Like, I couldn't think of a better person. And thinking, not always do we need, here's what's working. Like, we just need to quantum leap in the morning and watch things. And I think we should all share, like, what did we do different? Like, doing those things so we know. So Carla, okay, what, when you made that decision, like, if you were to wake up, like, what was something that you did that was different? I think somebody that's never done something like this is like, okay, do I just switch my toothbrush in a different hand and do that? Like, where would we start to do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really simple thing to do, and it automatically switches your brain. Or if you normally if you wear jeans and you usually put the one foot in first, then you put the other foot in first. So it's very like simple little things, because if you do something too obvious, like I don't know, so maybe you do yoga every day and you say, oh, well, maybe I'm gonna go to I don't know, spin class or something instead. It's not really the same program readjustment, because you're still like, I'm going to exercise today. It's still kind of in the same path. You have to really do something that's totally opposite. So, I mean, if you could like drive on the wrong side of the road, but that wouldn't be, so it
Safety
has
first,
to
Carla,
be
safety
almost
first.
like a left brain thing. Now, I do an exercise because I do Qigong, and Qigong is very mindful exercise. So, I don't know, maybe if I stand up, you might be able to see me do this. Okay. So this will readjust your right and left brain automatically. So it's super simple. All you do is like you tap this side of your leg and then this side of your leg, and you do it like about 9 to 12 times on each side. Then you switch. So it's like your brain is like, oh, what just happened? Now I'm switching sides. And it reprograms your brain. And it's so easy. You just do it every day. So you wake up in the morning and then automatically, instead of your brain going in one direction, it's like, oh, wait a minute, we're switching it up here. Or something else really fun you can do is it's gonna be kind of funny, but I'm not gonna do this one because I don't want you to see like my butt. But you just bend down and like you look through your legs at the other side, so you're seeing the world from a different view.
Oh, that's so
Super
good.
easy.
I mean, I
But your
think we all
brain is
should,
like, oh, things look different this way.
I think we should all take a picture of us doing all that. Like, what'd you learn on the train? Oh, I'm looking at things from the upside down
Looking
world.
at
It's
my
like
own
a
butt.
downward dog. So in yoga, how you do downward dog, but don't like, instead of downward dog, like look through the other side, and your brain sees things upside down. But what it helps your brain to do is like see things from other possibilities. It keeps opening it up to like, oh, things could look different this way. It gets you out of that like one track mind.
I love that. I think this Zoom was so good. And sometimes it's just so simple and needed to go back and just go crush the rest of the week with everything that's going on. So I appreciate you, Carla. I think we need to have you on more and share all of the things.
Sure.
And it's just
Absolutely.
so good. So you guys give Carla some love in the chat because we appreciate her. She's so wise. She's always so calm. I think that's one thing that I've always loved is she's just in and it's calming, and she's just like, well, it's just going to happen. And she believes that. And so I know she believes that for you guys, that you're going to hit your goals and we're all going to have that quantum leap. And I can't wait to hear all that. So I love you. I'll have Joel close it out with prayer, and then we'll see you guys next week, which will be December. Crazy, crazy.
Dear Heavenly Father, just thank you for this amazing team and these amazing leaders. Just ask that you would bless them this week, bring in overflowing abundance, help them to see and to believe the things that you have in store for them so that they can go out and do and achieve everything that you have set out for them to do. Help them to be a blessing overflowing so that they can pour out into the lives of others and go out and do incredible things for your kingdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys, have an amazing week. I love you, and I'll see you in December.
Bye. Thanks for having me.